There is something burning inside you that you have tried to ignore. It is not a thought, not a feeling, not even a dream. It is older than your name, older than your fears, older than the world itself. It is the hidden flame, the call of your own soul, the whisper of something infinite that lives quietly within you, waiting to be remembered. Most people spend their whole lives trying to silence that whisper. They bury it under noise, under ambition, under the endless hunger for approval. The world teaches you to build a life out of walls, to chase things that can be measured, to hold on to identities that can be praised. But somewhere beneath all of that, something in you still moves, still aches, still remembers. Rumi said, "The lamps are different, but the light is the same." That light is what you have forgotten, and the journey of your life, whether you know it or not, is the journey back to it. The truth is, the flame never left. You did. You left when you began to believe that you are only what you can touch. You left when you began to think that the soul is something you can lose. You left when you stopped listening to the silence within you. But even in your absence, the flame has been waiting, patient, eternal, unafraid. Rumi wrote, "There is a candle in your heart, ready to be kindled. There is a void in your soul, ready to be filled." What he meant is that awakening is not about learning something new. It is about remembering what you already are. At some point, life will bring you to a breaking, not to punish you, but to wake you up. The things that once gave you comfort will stop working. The masks that once fit will start to suffocate. The people who once defined you will fade away. And in that emptiness, you will feel something stir. That is the flame calling you home. You will not find peace in explanations. You will not find meaning in control. Peace begins when you stop demanding answers and start listening. Silence is not empty. It is full of everything you have been trying to hear. That is why Rumi said, "Silence is the language of God. All else is poor translation." The first stage of awakening is confusion. The second is grief. The third is surrender. You will resist, you will deny, you will try to rebuild what was lost. But sooner or later, the truth will find its way in. You will realize that nothing real can ever be taken from you, and nothing unreal was ever yours to keep. Rumi wrote, "What you seek is seeking you." The moment you stop chasing what fades, what is eternal begins to rise. The beloved, whatever name you give that presence, begins to reveal itself through your own breath, through your pain, through the quiet spaces between your thoughts. You do not have to go anywhere to find it. The temple you seek is your own heart. The gate you knock upon is already open, but you cannot enter while carrying what is false. You must walk empty. You must burn everything that is not love. That burning is not destruction. It is transformation. The fire does not come to punish you. It comes to free you. It takes away everything that was never you until only truth remains. Rumi said, "The wound is where the light enters you." You have been running from that light your entire life. Now it is time to turn toward it. Every soul will one day be brought to the edge of that fire. Some will turn back, some will leap, and those who leap will discover what Rumi discovered, that the fire was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to reveal that you are made of light. So stop running. Stop waiting for permission. The flame within you is not asking to be found. It is asking to be lived. At some point in every seeker's journey, the fire stops being a metaphor. It becomes real. It arrives through loss, heartbreak, failure, silence, moments that strip you bare until nothing remains but the truth. You will beg for the pain to end, not realizing that the pain itself is the teacher. Rumi said, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." The world will tell you to hide your pain, to cover it with distractions, to call it weakness. But Rumi understood what most people fear to see. Pain is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of transformation. It burns away illusions. It melts away pride. It clears the mirror of the heart so that light can finally reflect through it. You cannot awaken without being broken. You cannot rise without falling. There is no shortcut. There is only surrender. He wrote, "When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about." That grass is the stillness of surrender. It is not the quiet of defeat. It is the peace that comes when you stop arguing with life. When you stop insisting that things should be different, you begin to see that every experience, even the painful ones, is serving a purpose too large to understand. But this surrender does not come easily. The ego fights to survive. It wants to be right, to be in control, to be admired. It does not want to dissolve, and yet the fire spares no one. It comes to every heart that dares to love, to every soul that dares to remember. Rumi said, "Don't get lost in your pain. Know that one day your pain will become your cure. You do not need to destroy your wounds. You need to understand them." The wound becomes sacred the moment you stop seeing it as punishment and start seeing it as initiation. Every saint, every mystic, every awakened being has walked through this valley. They all cried. They all doubted. They all broke. And yet, through the breaking, they found the unbreakable. Rumi wrote, "Be melting snow. Wash yourself of yourself. When the false self dissolves, what remains is not emptiness, it is freedom. You lose the weight of pretending. You lose the chains of expectation. And in that losing, you finally begin to live. There will be times when you think you have lost everything. Friends will vanish. Dreams will collapse. The meaning you once believed in will fade. But if you look closely, beneath the ashes, something glows. It is the same fire that has always been there, the fire that consumes and renews." He said, "What hurts you blesses you. Darkness is your candle. Every shadow is trying to show you what light still hides, but you must have the courage to look. You must stop running from what aches and turn toward it with open hands. To walk the path of awakening is to become familiar with endings." Rumi said, "Don't grieve. Anything you lose comes round in another form. What dies is never truly gone. It only changes shape. The loss that shatters your heart is the space where new love will be born. In the silence that follows pain, something miraculous happens. The same mind that used to demand answers begins to grow quiet. The same heart that once begged for control begins to trust. The same soul that once feared the dark begins to see that it was never darkness at all. It was preparation for light." And that is when you understand what Rumi meant when he said, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." He did not write it to comfort you. He wrote it to remind you that pain is not random. Pain is sacred. So let the fire do its work. Let it strip away what is false. Let it burn everything that was never you. When you stop resisting, when you stop clinging to the ashes, you will see that the fire is not your enemy. The fire is your homecoming. The heart that survives the fire does not come out the same. It comes out luminous. It comes out fearless. It comes out knowing that even destruction can be divine. And in that moment of surrender, when the last illusion falls away, you will finally see what the mystics saw, that what hurts you most deeply is also what frees you, because the fire was never there to destroy you. It was there to show you what cannot be destroyed. There is a force that no mind can grasp and no heart can resist. It moves through everything, unseen yet undeniable, and when it touches you, nothing remains the same. That force is love, not the fragile kind that changes with moods or seasons, not the love that depends on promises or faces, but the love that burns through illusion and reveals the truth hidden beneath all things. Rumi said, "Love is the bridge between you and everything." This love is not an emotion. It is the origin of existence itself. It is the divine current that flows through every atom, every breath, every heartbeat. You cannot possess it, you can only surrender to it. When love finds you, it does not come to decorate your life. It comes to transform it. It will tear down your walls. It will expose your fears. It will demand that you give up everything you thought you needed to feel safe. And yet, in that surrender, you discover a freedom so vast, it can only be described as divine. He said, "Through love, all pain will turn to medicine." The human mind thinks love is comfort, but the soul knows love is fire. It purifies, it breaks, it rebuilds. It makes you transparent to yourself. The ego cannot survive this fire. It tries to control love, to cage it, to name it. But love laughs. It cannot be named. It cannot be owned. It can only be lived. Rumi wrote, "Love is the whole thing. We are only pieces. To love is to dissolve, to be melted down to your essence. It is not about romance or desire. It is about union. When you love deeply enough, you disappear, and what remains is only love loving itself. There is no true awakening without love, because love is the hand that guides you through the fire. It teaches you that the pain you feared was the doorway to light. That is why he said, 'Let yourself be silently drawn by the strange pull of what you really love. It will not lead you astray.' The pull you feel is not random. It is the call of your own soul, asking you to return home. Most people mistake love for attachment. They want to own what they love, to keep it, to make it theirs. But real love wants nothing. Real love asks you to release. It is not about holding on. It is about letting go. It is not about gaining, but about giving yourself away completely. Rumi said, "Close your eyes, fall in love, stay there." Love is not something you find outside yourself. It is the hidden fire that has always been burning within you. The beloved you seek is not in the world. The beloved is the light moving through your breath, the presence watching from behind your eyes. Rumi wrote, "The minute I heard my first love story, I started looking for you, not knowing how blind that was. Lovers don't finally meet somewhere. They are in each other all along. When love awakens, everything changes. The sky looks different, the silence sounds alive, and even your pain begins to glow. Because love has this strange power. It makes even suffering sacred. What once felt like loss now feels like invitation. What once seemed like death begins to look like rebirth." Rumi said, "Your task is not to seek for love, but to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. The barriers are not outside you. They are made of fear, of pride, of the stories you tell yourself about who you are. Love does not ask you to be worthy. It asks you to be real." He also said, "I have been looking for myself. The journey of love is not toward another, but toward the truth of your own being. Every person you love deeply is a mirror, showing you a piece of yourself you had forgotten. That is why love can hurt, because it exposes what you've been hiding. Love burns away illusion until only light remains. It is not about becoming someone new. It is about remembering that you were never separate to begin with. Rumi said, "We are born of love. Love is our mother. You come from love, you live in love, and you return to love. In the end, there is no seeker and no sought. There is only love, recognizing itself through your eyes. And when you finally see this, when you stop searching, stop clinging, stop fearing, you realize that love was never outside you. It was the fire that has been guiding you all along. The fire of love does not destroy, it refines. It takes everything false and makes it holy. It takes your pain and turns it into prayer. It takes your longing and turns it into light. And when you are ready to surrender completely, when you let love burn you clean, you will finally understand what Rumi meant when he said, "I am so small, I can barely be seen. How can this great love be inside me? Look at your eyes. They are small, but they see enormous things." There comes a moment on every seeker's path when words stop working. The prayers feel hollow, the teachings sound repetitive, and even the most sacred books fall silent. You begin to understand that what you are seeking cannot be spoken. It must be felt. Rumi said, "Silence is the language of God. All else is poor translation." When the mind grows quiet enough, the soul begins to hear what has been whispering all along. The truth does not shout. It waits. It speaks in the spaces between your thoughts, in the pauses between your breaths, in the moments when you finally stop trying to understand. The world fears silence because silence exposes what we hide. It shows us the noise we carry inside, the endless commentary, the doubts, the worries, the self that never stops talking. But the mystics knew that true peace does not come from escaping the noise of the world. It comes from no longer being ruled by the noise within. He wrote, "In the silence of love, you will find the spark of life." This is the silence that is alive, not empty. It is not absence, it is presence. When you fall into it deeply enough, you begin to feel that everything, even the air itself, is listening back. We are taught to speak, to ask, to explain, but not to listen. Yet it is only in listening that revelation occurs. Every true awakening happens in a moment of stillness. Rumi said, "The quieter you become, the more you are able to hear." The silence is not comfortable at first. It confronts you. It shows you every mask, every fear, every part of you that you've used to avoid truth. It asks you to face yourself completely. And that is why most people run from it. But the Sufis called it the desert of silence, the place where the seeker walks alone until only the beloved remains. In that silence, the mind begins to surrender its authority. It starts to see that it was never in control. The thoughts still come and go, but they no longer define you. You begin to sense the space behind them, the still awareness that has always been watching. That awareness is what you truly are. Rumi wrote, "There is a voice that doesn't use words. Listen. It is not the voice of the world. It is the voice of the heart. It will not argue with you or convince you. It will simply wait until you are ready to hear it. When you finally stop fighting the silence, it becomes your companion. You begin to feel its power, its calm. The storms of life still come, but they no longer drown you. They move around you like wind through open doors, because silence gives you depth, and depth cannot be shaken. In that stillness, something miraculous begins to happen. The same world that once felt chaotic begins to move in harmony. The same people who once triggered your pain now become your teachers. The same struggles that once felt meaningless start to reveal their design. He said, "Let silence take you to the core of life." This is not poetic metaphor. It is instruction. When you enter silence fully, you enter the core of yourself. And there, at the center, you find not emptiness, but endless presence. The silence is not absence of sound. It is the presence of truth. It is what remains when everything else has been stripped away, the awareness that never began and will never end. Rumi wrote, "The soul is here for its own joy." When you finally taste that silence, you realize that the search is over. The one who was seeking and the one being sought were never two. The voice you thought belonged to God was your own. In the stillness, the separation dissolves, the walls collapse, the need to prove, to compare, to chase, all of it falls away. What remains is simplicity, peace, and an almost unbearable clarity. You start to see that life has never been against you. Every challenge was an invitation. Every silence was an answer. Every delay was divine timing. And that is when you realize what Rumi meant when he said, "Do not be satisfied with the stories that come before you. Unfold your own myth." Silence is where that myth begins. It is the space where the old self fades and the new self is born, not from effort, but from awareness. So stop filling the silence. Let it speak. Let it move through you. Let it rebuild you from the inside out. Because when all words fall away, what remains is not emptiness. What remains is God. There comes a point on the path when you realize that the journey was never about becoming anything at all. It was never about improving, fixing, or even healing. It was about remembering that you were never separate to begin with. Rumi said, "You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop." At first, the mind cannot understand this. It clings to the illusion of identity, to the boundaries that make you feel safe. But as the heart expands, those boundaries begin to fade. You start to see that the same life moving through the stars is the life moving through you. The mystics called this union the Great Return, the moment when the lover and the beloved become one. Not through belief, but through direct experience. You no longer speak about God. You breathe God. You see God in faces, in storms, in silence. Everywhere you look, you find reflection. Rumi wrote, "Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right-doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. That field is not somewhere far away. It is the space within you where judgment dies and love remains." When the mind stops dividing, when it no longer labels or condemns, what remains is pure awareness, the state of unity that was always here. In that awareness, even pain becomes sacred. You stop asking why things happen and start seeing that everything happens through you, not to you. The universe is not a stranger anymore. It is your own reflection. Every encounter, every challenge, every loss is the beloved wearing another mask. He said, "I searched for God and found only myself. I searched for myself and found only God." The separation between you and the divine is an illusion created by thought. Once the thought fades, only oneness remains. This union is not dramatic. It is subtle. It does not arrive with trumpets or miracles. It arrives quietly, like a sunrise you didn't notice until the world was already bright. It comes when you stop seeking, when you stop demanding proof. It comes when you finally accept that there is nothing to find, because you are what you've been looking for. Rumi wrote, Knock, and he'll open the door. Vanish, and he'll make you shine like the sun. Fall, and he'll raise you to the heavens. Become nothing, and he'll turn you into everything. The secret of union is disappearance. The more you dissolve, the more vast you become. The smaller the ego grows, the greater the light shines. To dissolve is not to die. It is to awaken. It is to see that the self you have been protecting was never real. The world teaches you to build identity, but love teaches you to let it go. The mystics knew that real power is not found in becoming more, but in becoming less. He said, "Don't be satisfied with stories, how things have gone with others. Unfold your own myth. That myth is not built on achievements or possessions. It is written in surrender, in trust, in devotion. You do not control it. You live it. You allow it to unfold through you like a poem written by the divine hand itself. When you reach this state, even the idea of spirituality fades. You no longer care about enlightenment. You no longer crave peace, because peace is no longer something to be gained. It is the fabric of your being. The fire, the silence, the love, they were never separate steps. They were all facets of the same truth. Rumi wrote, "We come spinning out of nothingness, scattering stars like dust." This is what happens when the self disappears. The universe begins to dance through you. You become a channel for creation, not through effort, but through emptiness. The less you interfere, the more grace flows. In union, there is no seeker left to seek, no sinner left to save, no wound left to heal. There is only love recognizing itself, consciousness watching itself, God returning to God. The game ends where it began, in the heart of the infinite. And that is why the Sufis danced. Not for entertainment, not for ritual. They danced because the moment the illusion of separation broke, movement itself became worship. Every step was remembrance. Every turn was surrender. Every breath was prayer. He said, "When I die, I will soar with angels. And when I die to the angels, what I shall become, you cannot imagine." The soul is endless because it is not yours. It belongs to the source. And when you merge with it fully, you see that even death was just another door, another form of returning home. You are not here to become spiritual. You are here to remember that you already are. You are not here to chase the light. You are here to realize that you are made of it. And when that realization dawns, quietly, naturally, like the breath you no longer think about, everything changes. Yet nothing changes. The same world remains, but now you see it for what it truly is. One vast mirror, reflecting the face of the beloved in every direction. At the end of every journey, there comes a silence, not the silence of emptiness, but the silence of understanding. You look back and realize that the fire, the love, the loss, the surrender, they were never separate paths. They were all one road leading you home. Rumi said, "What you seek is seeking you." You have spent years searching for meaning, for peace, for something to fill the quiet ache inside you. But what you were seeking was not out there in the world. It was the world itself calling you inward. It was your own soul reaching toward its reflection. There is a moment when the search collapses, when the questions lose their urgency and the need to define begins to fade. That moment is not defeat, it is revelation. You understand that there was never a separation to begin with. You were never apart from the divine. You were never lost. You only dreamed you were. He wrote, "Stop acting so small. You are the universe in ecstatic motion. To awaken is not to become something more. It is to remember how vast you already are. The same consciousness that stirs galaxies moves through your breath. The same intelligence that births stars beats your heart. You were never separate from creation. You are creation itself. The mind still tries to understand, still tries to label, still tries to claim. But the heart knows better. The heart smiles because it has seen the truth. Rumi said, "When you let go of who you are, you become what you might be. The walls crumble, the masks fall, and what remains is simple and infinite. You are no longer chasing light, you are living as it. You are no longer begging for peace, you are breathing it. You no longer pray for guidance, because you have become the guidance itself. The one who searched, the one who suffered, the one who prayed, all dissolve into a single awareness," he wrote. "I have lived on the lip of insanity, wanting to know reasons, knocking on a door. It opens. I've been knocking from the inside. Every question you have ever asked was an echo. Every prayer was a reflection of your own voice. The answers were never hidden. You simply had to grow quiet enough to hear them. The return is not dramatic. It does not come with thunder or light. It comes with peace so deep it feels like still water. The fire that once burned with pain now glows with warmth. The longing that once felt unbearable becomes devotion. The seeking becomes seeing." Rumi said, "The moon stays bright when it does not avoid the night. You no longer fear the darkness because you have learned what it really is, the cradle of light. The moments that once felt like endings are now beginnings. The tears that once felt bitter now taste like grace. In this stillness, the whole universe breathes with you. You see how every joy and every sorrow was part of the same dance, a rhythm older than time. You realize that the beloved was never far away. Every whisper of wind, every shadow, every silence was his voice calling you back." He wrote, "Don't turn away. Keep your gaze on the bandaged place. That's where the light enters you. The journey does not erase your wounds. It transforms them. The cracks remain, but they shine now, filled with gold. They are proof that you lived, that you opened, that you loved. To live awake is to live gently, to speak less and listen more, to see through the eyes of love even when the world forgets how. You no longer need to prove, to win, to understand. You simply are, and that is enough." Rumi said, "The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. The return is not the end of seeking. It is the beginning of living. You walk through the world carrying the flame that once scared you, and now it guides others through their darkness. Because that is what awakening truly is, not an escape from the world, but a return to it, with open eyes and a burning heart. You begin to see that God is not somewhere else. He is in the face of the stranger, in the laughter of a child, in the trembling of your own hands. The beloved was never separate. The beloved is everything." Rumi wrote, "We are born of love. Love is our mother. To return is to rest in that truth, to remember that every path, every fire, every silence was leading you back to where you began, to the heart. So when the fire calls again, when the silence deepens, when the love breaks you open once more, do not resist. Let it take you. Let it consume you. Because now you know. The burning is not destruction. It is creation. It is the beloved shaping you into light. And one day, when all words fall away and all boundaries dissolve, you will smile and understand what Rumi meant when he said, 'The lamps are different, but the light is the same.' Because in the end, there is no you and no him. There is only the flame, eternal, radiant, alive. When the video ends, do not rush to move on. Let the silence linger. Let the words sink. The truth of these teachings is not in hearing them once. It is in remembering them when the world grows loud again. Rumi said, "Let yourself become living poetry." You do not need to be perfect to live with meaning. You only need to stay open. Open to love, open to silence, open to the flame that waits within you. If this journey spoke to something deep inside you, let it continue. Share it so the flame reaches others still wandering in the dark. Leave a word below, not for me, but for those who will come after you and search for the same light. The path is not over. It is beginning again, right now, in you.